All right, welcome into A Bettor Morning right here on the Better Sports Network. It's your boy Corey Parson, the fantasy executive. Had some weird internet stuff go down as soon as the show started, but don't worry about it. Don't fret. We are here once again. Better Morning brought to you by Rival Fantasy, your all-in-one fantasy sports destination. I got an email this morning that I hit those two challenges that I did on Rival Fantasy last week. So be like me. Head on over to Rival Fantasy, your all-in-one fantasy sports platform. They are the sponsor of this show. Coming up on this show today, Sad Show. What up, Toronto, Dave? And talk a little NFL injuries. Obviously, Saquon Barkley and Joe Burrow got to get that out the way. Obviously, most of us were up till 2:30 a.m. on Saturday morning. Touch on that a little bit later on. Saturday night going into Sunday morning. Tell you why. You probably know exactly why. Touch on that a little bit later on in the program as well. But I want to start off today as we get ready to recap the Sunday that was week 2 and head into a Monday night that has a pair of Monday night football games. You know, I got to be honest. You know what I'm saying? I got to do something that, it takes a bigger person to do. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, guy like me come up here, just spew stuff off the top of my head, fire, you know what I'm saying? Legit content, no cap. Like I always say, if I see it, I got to say it. You know what I'm saying? And a part of me seeing it and saying it would also lead me to believe that when I see things that I'm wrong about, I also have to be a big enough person to go ahead and step up and apologize. Now, I've been very critical of some people, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott. You know what I'm saying? Last week, I don't want to say I showed Lamar Jackson some tough love. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. But the truth of the matter is, sometimes you take it a little bit too far. Sometimes the fantasy executive can go a little too deep out into left field with his analysis, his criticisms, his adjustments for players that he thinks is not doing well. And I got to be honest with you. I want to start off today by apologizing to a couple of people, a trio of people. And I want to apologize because maybe I've been a little bit unfairly too harsh on these people. Like I say, when I see something, I got to say it. But I want to start off by apologizing to Baltimore Raven quarterback Lamar Jackson. Remember last week, I said, hey, listen, Lamar, don't really be a fantasy QB1 anymore. Struggles against the Bengals, the offense ain't offense and the stats ain't statting. You heard the rant I went on last week talking about Lamar Jackson. Well, I guess word got back to Lamar Jackson too, because not only was Jackson a winner yesterday, taking his Ravens into Cincinnati to knock off the division rival Bengals. We're going to touch on the Bengals in a few minutes as well. But he also had a solid performance. Like we can say that once again, Lamar Jackson was the reason why his team won. Jackson was excellent yesterday. 24-32, 237 passing yards, completed 72% of his passes, threw 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he also gave us over 50 yards on the ground. And another Baltimore Raven win. One thing about Lamar Jackson, what we do know what he does is he does rack up the wins. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Lamar Jackson. I apologize. I was being a little bit too difficult on Jackson last week. You know what I'm saying? Saying that the stats ain't statting. Well, word must have got back to Lamar Jackson, and maybe he looked in his own self personally. Just like a little tough love is the way I looked at it. But Lamar Jackson, I apologize for being a little bit too tough on you last weekend. You know what I'm saying? Showing you that tough love. But I like the way you responded on the road versus a division rival and putting up those good fantasy points for everybody who trusted and believed and invested in you, Mr. Jackson. So to that, I apologize to Lamar Jackson. My heartfelt apologies. But don't get me wrong, Jackson. If you backslide and go back the other way, I'm going to come at you again. But for this Monday, this good Monday morning in the middle of September, I offer you a peace leaf. Now, another person that I want to apologize to this morning is Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen. I've said some pretty mean things about Josh Allen the past couple of months, particularly this past week. I said that he loses the games for the team. When he was in the press conference last weekend, his voice was cracking. I said, don't cry about it. Stop giving the football to the other team. I said he don't have no dog in him. You know what I'm saying? I kind of speculated that his teammates don't like him. It was tough on Josh Allen. You know what I'm saying? I was giving him, a little bit too much of a hard time because of a couple of bad losses. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I really went real far. I called him an AFC Dak Prescott. I said last week that Jordan Love was better than him. You know what I'm saying? So, Josh Allen, I also would like to apologize. I want to bury the hatchet. You know what I'm saying? I should be more fair to Josh Allen. I should be more cognitive of Josh Allen's feelings because maybe the word got back to Josh Allen that, fantasy executive called him a fraud, called him an interception thrower, called him a guy not worth his salt. Buffalo Bills made a mistake by extending him. These are all the things I said about Josh Allen. And I guess word got back to Josh Allen because yesterday, Josh Allen, fantastic. 31 of 37, completed 83% of his passes, 7.4 yards an attempt, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Josh Allen, I apologize to you, Josh Allen, for all those mean things I said about you. I called you a grown boy. I did. I said he's not a grown man, he's a grown boy. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? I got to be honest with you. I got to be fair. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, if I see it, I got to say it. No cap Corey. And Josh Allen, you deserve kudos and an apology from the fantasy executive for the way that you performed yesterday. So now don't get it twisted, Josh. If we go back, I'm going to be critical, but maybe I won't be as critical. Maybe I've found the new. Maybe I've turned a new leaf. You know what I'm saying? My heart is filled with joy. My heart is filled with Josh Allen joy. I also want to, and somebody, Heather, cut this up and send it to our homie Britt Flynn so she can use it on Britt's Fantasy Blitz. You know what I'm saying? But I gotta apologize to number 4 for the Dallas Cowboys. I have to apologize to the guy who commands NFL's best team, the NFL's most popular franchise, the Dallas Cowboys. I got to apologize to number 4. I've said some pretty bad things about Dak Prescott. I said he's an interception thrower, a below average interception thrower. I said that he masquerades around as a franchise quarterback. I have said that his game is not the same anymore. I've also called him a fraud. You know what I'm saying? I have said things about Dak Prescott. I've called him everything but a child of God. And I want to apologize for that. Because maybe the word got to Dak Prescott that the fantasy executive has been calling him everything in the book. You know what I'm saying? I said he's the reason why the Dallas Cowboys lose football games. It wasn't fair for me to be that harsh on Dak Prescott only 2 games into the season. I mean, going in, and now that we are 2 games into the season, I got to be honest. You know what I'm saying? I've been rough on Dak Prescott. I should not have said all those mean things that got all of those views and hits that went viral in the whole world. The whole sports world saw those things. I was not being fair to Dak Prescott, and the word must have got back to him because Prescott, fantastic yesterday. 31 of 38, 255 yards passing, 81% completion percentage, just under 7 yards an attempt, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, has not thrown interceptions in back-to-back games, and God knows how long. Dak Prescott, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dak Prescott. Like I said, my heart is filled with joy on this Monday morning. So to you 3 gentlemen who the fantasy executive has been very critical of, please, I beg of you, Lamar Jackson, accept my apology for saying that you are a fantasy QB1 one week and then you're QB 78 the next week. I apologize, Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen, I called you a grown boy. It wasn't right. Wasn't right. I said the Buffalo Bills made an issue extending you. I said that you were the problem. You were the reason they lose these games. I'm sorry. Josh Allen, you were phenomenal yesterday. Dak Prescott, I've been particularly critical of you, and it's close to my heart. I've called you a fraud, masquerade around, all those mean things. Dak Prescott, I'm sorry. My heart is filled with joy on this good Monday morning, and I just felt like I had to come to you gentlemen and apologize. So please, from the bottom of the fantasy executive heart, please, can you forgive the fantasy executive? I beg of you, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, and Lamar Jackson. I'm not going to be apologizing to Justin Fields, though. No. I'm going to double down on Justin Fields because I'm starting to think that the Chicago Bears should have kept the first pick of the draft last year and drafted the Bryce Young or the quarterback of their liking. This guy throws an interception to Shaq Barrett with the game on the line. Shaq Barrett, the linebacker, standing 2 feet away from you, son. You're not even throwing interceptions down the field no more. You're throwing interceptions to the guy standing right there. You could have walked over there and handed him the football. You got to do better, son. You got to do better. If the Bears have the #1 pick in the draft again next year, you're going to be playing on another team, Jack. You got to do better, son. I was listen, the game was right there. Once again, the game was right there. Not for Justin Fields, though. Not apologizing to you, Justin Fields. That warm, fuzzy feeling that was in my heart, Justin Fields, it's not there no more. So I'm not going to apologize to you. You got to do better. You want to be like Jackson. You want to be like Allen. You want to be like Prescott. You can't turn the ball over like that, son. You do it every week. You coach your team to lose the game. You got to do a better job. I would put you on the bench, to be honest with you. I'm also not apologizing to Russell Wilson. Sorry, Russ. You ain't cooking. And you ain't ever going to be cooking no more. Russell Wilson, you did drive the football down the field this past week. I got to give you your props because last week I said, you know what, this guy don't drive the football down the field no more. You did drive the football down the field, connected with Marvin Mims a couple times. But once again, Russ, you were bad again yesterday. Celebrity quarterback once again. You know what I'm saying? Running around with the ball in one hand. It gets taken from you at the 50-yard line when your team was up 21-3. That was the motivation that led to that comeback, Russ. Then when they tied the score, what'd you do? When the game was tied and it was time to go on a drive to retake the lead, what did you do? You threw another interception. No apology. No apology. You have been losing games for 2 years now. Fields, no apology. Wilson, no apology. Dakota Prescott, I apologize. Josh Allen, I apologize. Lamar Jackson, I apologize. Now, New York Giant fan, get down 60-0, and I had a good time laughing about that. But, like, Brian Daboll shouldn't have to raise Cain in the locker room for y'all to play right against an opponent like the Arizona Cardinals. Watch what the Dallas Cowboys do to the Arizona Cardinals next week. With that being said, you got the win, but the Saquon Barkley injury looks like it's going to be tough. They're saying it's an ankle sprain. It's more than likely a high ankle sprain. You don't really get carried off the court when you're carried off the field when you're Saquon Barkley because of an injury, like, you know, an ankle injury. Like you would walk off on your own power unless it was a high ankle sprain. It's a devastating injury. It's probably a month injury. They're saying this one right here could be a little bit more significant as well. So keep it locked here all day today. We're going to give you the latest updates and what you can find out on one Mr. Saquon Barkley. Also, Joe Burrow. You got to sit son down. You got to sit down. You got to take some time off, bro. Because, listen, they're going to need you for down the stretch when they need to make that run. Because, you see, it's one thing to be 0-2, but when you start off 0-2 with the 2 losses being in your division, what I need you to understand is that not only are you behind the 8 ball in the AFC, that's extremely tough. Now you're behind the 8 ball in your division, that's extremely tough. Now, and then your quarterback got a calf strain and it's not healed. My good buddy, Dr. Roto, would always say the players are the most optimistic person when it comes to their injury scenarios, with their injury situations. To the player, the injury is never that serious. But when the player says, I tweaked my calf, yeah, when the player starts admitting something's going on, that means it's more serious than what you could have thought of. He needs to sit down, he needs to take some time off. And I know you got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and all your dudes and Joe Burrow MVP tickets and all of that. But guess what? I'm not so sure it's going to happen. This guy needs to take some time off because the most important thing for the Bengals is finishing strong down the stretch and trying to return to the AFC Championship game and back to the Super Bowl. So you're going to need a healthy Joe Burrow to do that. It's time to sit him down. Let the calf get fully healed. And then another thing that y'all can do to help him is run the football, for Christ's sakes. Why the Bengals don't run the ball? Pass. No balance on offense. You know, Burrow has been really saving me from attacking that head coach, Zach Taylor. I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to do that right there. So those are the 2 big injury situations that we're going to be keeping an eye on. The Barkley thing is massive right there because They play on Thursday night. I doubt you see Barkley this week. Matt Breida came into the game late yesterday. So it's going to be interesting to see how the New York Giants maneuver around this situation right here with Barkley, because as soon as it looked like they're starting to get some momentum behind them, of course, this is what happens. So get the latest fantasy football news. Start a free 7-day trial of Fantasy Alarm's All-Pro subscription. You'll get all the Week 2 and Week 3 DFS contests and picks for free. Go to fantasyalarm.com/NFL and check out their Thursday Night Football best bets and showdown slate strategies. Also, hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel as well. Subscribe, like, all of that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Right here, do that favor for the fantasy executive. Sean McVay did something yesterday that is extremely interesting. Down 10 points with 4 seconds left, he brings the field goal kicker on to kick a field goal. Now, the Rams were down by 10 at that point. They were 7.5-point underdogs. He kicks that field goal. That means that the Rams win that game. Well, the Rams get an ATS win on that game. Sean McVay would never admit this, but McVay was playing for the ATS win down the stretch. That field goal was to get the ATS win. You can't tell me it wasn't. Now, I wouldn't specifically sat and watch Sean McVay's press conference after the game. Of course, none of the jackasses in the media sitting there asked him. But here's the truth of the matter is, somebody should ask him, hey, did you know what the point spread was? Because why would you kick a field goal with 4 seconds left? I don't know. I think that's interesting. Somebody needs to talk about that today. Why did McVay kick that field goal with 4 seconds left when in every other situation you would try to score a touchdown and let the clock in? Was you trying to get an ATS victory for the Rams and their supporters? People always say coaches and players don't know what the point spread is. Don't ever believe that. Coaches definitely know what the point spread is. Players maybe not, but in today's sports betting world, you never know. I think that's interesting. Somebody needs to ask Sean McVay about that. Why did he kick that field goal? Was he trying to cover the number? I think it's a fair point. To everybody who stayed up late on Saturday night at 2:30 in the morning to watch the Colorado Buffaloes and Colorado State, if you're at my age, it takes a little bit of a while to recover from a 2:30 a.m. go to sleep time and then to turn right back around and wake up to get busy on a Sunday morning. For the people that had to work on Sunday mornings, me, I was able to sit back and chill, interestingly enough. With that being said, great game, great win. Buffalo's now 3-0. They're just getting ready to pass that win total already. Big matchup coming up. They get ready to go to Eugene to take on Oregon. That's going to be phenomenal. That's a 3:30 a.m. That's a 3:30 p.m. Eastern time start. Thank you very much for that. Don't got to worry about staying up to the crack of dawn, you know what I'm saying, to watch Dion and the boys. The hit on Travis Hunter, that young man that hit Travis Hunter like that, he needs to be why was he not thrown out the game for targeting, number one? Ridiculous. Number two, why he should be suspended for this upcoming week too. That was a dirty play right there, and it ends up going to miss Travis Hunter for a few games because of that dirty hit. Not a good look. I don't want to speculate, but he may have a broken rib or two in that joint, because why else would he miss that time like that? But yeah, Oregon and Colorado is a big one this upcoming weekend in college football. But I tell you, the real big one this weekend in college football is going to be Ohio State, Notre Dame. And I'll break that down and get you a pick later on this week. As far as Monday Night Football tonight, got a couple matchups. NFC South, Carolina, and New Orleans. NFC South games always be close games. Take the 3 with Carolina. That's what I tell you for that one right there. The Pittsburgh and Cleveland, I'm going to keep a good, I was going to watch Carolina because I want to make sure that Bryce Young is not being ruined by Frank Wright. So I had to kind of coach Frank Wright, and maybe I have to come on here tomorrow and yell at Frank Wright. But I'm also actually going to watch Deshaun Watson, every snap of Deshaun Watson. I'm actually going to watch every snap of Deshaun Watson, because I got to see if this guy is the same player or if this guy has the talent to get back to where he was. Because right now he looked like a below average quarterback. So I'm going to have my eye on you tonight, Deshaun Watson. and I hope you join me in doing that as well. Now, getting ready to get up out of here. It's your boy Corey Parson, the Fantasy Executive. Don't forget, coming up next is Sportstopia MLB Fantasy Fire and Ice with myself and Chris Crawford. So I'm going to do a quick spinneroo and get ready for that program. While I do that, y'all make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button, and make sure you head on over to fantasyalarm.com and get that subscription, that all-pro subscription. Source out with that 7-day free trial. For the lovely and talented head of Klein, it's your boy Corey Parson, the Fantasy Executive, wishing you a better